Well, that wasn't the start anyone expected or thought was going to happen, and yet here we are, and the Bengals are 0-1 once again. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. She's Elise Jesse. I'm James Rapien. We write for BengalsTalk.com, and today the Bengals, well, they dropped the season opener, and we're used to them dropping season openers. They fought a 1-5 in the Zac Taylor era for season openers. 16-10 loss to the New England Patriots. Joe Burrow 1-4 in season openers, so not much better for Joe. And this game was ugly. I mean, I don't really think there's any other way to describe it. 3 straight 3-and-outs for this offense, followed by a turnover after a drop touchdown. Even though it was close, Gesicki drops the ball, and then Tanner Hudson literally drops the ball near the goal line. I don't know exactly where to begin, but I think it needs to be on offense. So let's start there. The offense was awful.
It really was. It was at one point during this game, I was sitting there and I'm like, this is the Murphy's Law game, because anything that could go wrong for the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely did. The fumbles were brutal. I saw a stat that all of last year in 2023, which, were they in the playoffs? Absolutely not. Were they competing for a title? Absolutely not. But in 2023, they only lost 2 fumbles all year. In this game alone, they lose 2 fumbles. It is an ugly start for this team right now. And I know they're all disappointed because you heard it just like I did. All offseason long, at the end of last season too, all they kept talking about was starting fast. Starting fast, starting fast. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to do. But guess what? That goal was not realized for them at all. And they cannot keep stacking their wins and stacking their goals if they cannot close out the New England Patriots.
Close out? I mean, they can't even start out.
Couldn't start out. Yeah, you're right.
That's what's. They couldn't even start out. And then when they did, it's this close to a touchdown and then not. And then this close to a touchdown again. He's at the 2-yard line. He's starting to stretch the ball out, which is really something you should never do, which I'm sure he knows, and fumble. And that was the blueprint. Like, if you were telling me the blueprint for how the Patriots win this game, it's pretty simple. They're going to run the ball. Yeah. They're going to force some turnovers. The Bengals offense is going to be stagnant like they are every week one. And all of those things happened. And you look up, and, the camera shifted here as we do this. I don't know how it did. Yeah, we'll shift a little bit. Oh, it's because I'm moving. That. Anyways, anyways, week one for us too, clearly. Holding, and a bad delay of game joke. All right, but to me, all of those things happen, and it's 16-10. You have the ball, fourth quarter, a chance to go take the lead, a chance to go win the game, and they go 3-and-out, and they punt. You have an issue with it. I have an issue with it. I think everybody does. I get it. It was like right here. They were on like the 20. But the game's over anyways if you punt and you don't get the ball back, and that's obviously what happened. Your thoughts?
Zac Taylor was asked about this after the game, and rightfully so. And he said that he was relying on the defense, and he has confidence in the defense. Okay, like that's a formidable answer, but you have a $200 million quarterback. And you're down 6, and you punt? That doesn't make any sense. So I understand. I saw a ton of frustration from fans already online within the first 2 minutes of the loss. You guys are all in the right to be pissed off about that, because that was crazy.
It was, and for a few reasons. One, you're asking your defense that's at that point giving up 4.7 yards per carry. Yeah. Ramondre Stevenson, chunk gain after chunk gain. Jacoby Brissett ran for multiple first downs, and so he went off script. So you couldn't bank on that. It's not like you were good at that all day, and it was a defensive slugfest. And then, 2, the offense, the one thing it did do well, and Joe was 21 of 29, in a few of those were on that last possession there, a few of the incompletions, but he was dumping the ball down. He was finding ways to get 3, 4, 5 yards, and that's the time where you got to go for it. And if you don't get it, you lose. But the odds of the defense playing the run, stopping the run, small, and we saw it because they didn't get a stop and the game was over.
I think the punt was so infuriating because you wanted to see the Bengals show some form of real aggression on offense. You really wanted to see that. Time was winding down. You're about to lose the game. Like, show some aggression on that front. And I just didn't think we saw that today. None of them were, really at their best. Ramondre Stevenson that you touched on, 120 rushing yards on 25 carries. I mean, they got gashed on the ground. All off season long, what have they talked about? Stopping the run, getting better at stopping the run. I didn't see an inkling of them stopping any run today. The Patriots did whatever they wanted to do on the ground.
They did. I mean, Jacoby Brissett just Didn't turn the ball over. That's the other thing the defense didn't do. They didn't force any turnovers. That does matter. That needs to happen. And then offensively, let's talk about it, because it felt like I kind of said it as a positive a second ago, but Joe Burrow wasn't pushing the ball downfield. There was a deep ball to Chase, which really wasn't a deep ball. It was kind of intermediate, but it was an explosive play, 28 yards to Jamar, set up the field goal to cut it to 16-10. He went deep on the sideline, on the Bengals sideline over there to Andre Yosevach. It drew a pass interference penalty. Those are the two times that stand out to me. That's not enough. You need something. And I get it. No T. Higgins. Jamar Chase doesn't have a training camp. I get it. Fine. Is it Jermaine Burton? I don't know. Send him on a go route. I don't care. But you need to be able to stretch the field. And that's the other element here, especially against a defense like the Patriots. They're okay with you checking it down and dumping it off because they're going to be disciplined. And the Bengals weren't at this, by the way. This is part of their bad run defense. They make tackles. The Bengals miss tackles. And that was another theme today for sure.
I can't believe is it a second or third straight year in a row that we were talking about tackling being a problem? Do you remember last year? Yeah. And we were all like, why are we talking about fundamentals? What? Yeah. Like, no, that stuff should be in check. You should be ready to go with tackling at the least. It's ridiculous. I can't believe what we just watched here today. And honestly, I was shocked about Jamar Chase, touching on him for a second. He had a total of 2 targets in the first half. The one drive I felt where the Bengals actually looked like they had some life to them was when Jamar Chase had, 3 targets, maybe 4 targets, and that was the drive where Zach Moss eventually scored the touchdown. But it's like, why was he not more involved at the start of the game? I understand he missed practice. He's still your best receiver on the field. I don't care if he didn't show up at all in the building until today. Get him more involved.
6 targets, 6 receptions. 62 yards, their longest play from scrimmage. You're right. Zach Moss in the second half got going. The Bengals running game out of the shotgun got going a little bit. Moss had a 16-yard run, had the 5-yard touchdown run. So there was some signs at times. But the turnovers, the inability to get off the field, the decision to punt when you have Joe Burrow, and this offense clearly just looks stagnant, looks out of rhythm. The run defense, we could have anticipated that for sure, anticipated that they were going to struggle. At the same time, this offense can't struggle. Not with a defense that is going to be up and down against the run probably all year long. And so the offense has to figure it out. We have a ton for you here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Make sure you check out what Joe Burrow said, what Zac Taylor said. We'll have more on Monday. You talked with Dax Hill. You talked with Ted Karras. So there is a ton. Oh, Jamar Chase, by the way, also uploaded. And he was not in a great mood. No one was really in a great mood, and they shouldn't be. 0-1 for a 3rd straight season. Back-to-back years, they're shut out in the opener in the first half. Shut out completely. Yeah. Just rough. Rough. There's no other way to describe it. The Bengals fall to 0-1. We will be back with more. Please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. And for Elise Jesse and Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.